Here we go, microeconomics, part 1. What is economics about? Most people have this money idea when we ask them, but it's my job to convince you that it's about a whole lot more. The old funky-looking guy to the right is Alfred Marshall. He's been dead over 100 years-ish. But the important thing for us is he said economics is the study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. That economics isn't about money, it's about the ordinary business of life. Economists begin with a simple proposition. That simple proposition is that human wants are unlimited. No matter how much we have, we want more. No matter what car you have, you want more. You want a better one, or you want a second one, or a third one, or a 42nd one. If you have your fabulous canoe, pretty soon you start thinking that you want a yacht. It doesn't matter what you have, you want more. And it's not just about things that cost money. Maybe you want more control over the thermostat in your house. Maybe you want more control over the covers at night. There's all kinds of more which have nothing to do with how much money you have to spend. So I want more, but I have limits. I have lots of limits on me. The two biggest ones are time and money. Time is fixed, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. I'm only going to live to be 110. I only have so much time to do things. And time is linear. So I can't be at the Pac-12 tournament and at the Big Ten tournament at the same time because they're 2,000 miles apart. In addition to that, of course, I have limited money. Even if you're Bill Gates and you're worth 50, 60, 70 billion, you still have financial limits on you. So we have limited resources to balance against unlimited wants. What does that mean? That means that I live in a world of scarcity. Things are scarce. We economists refer to the economic problem. There is something we need to solve, and that thing is the economic problem. The economic problem is the problem of scarcity. Wants exceed resources. Scarcity has an impact on me. Scarcity means I need to choose. For lunch, maybe I could make a PB&J and bring it in from home. Or I could go to Chipotle, or I could go to Cafe Rio, or I could go to Taco Bell. I'm not doing all four of those things. I have to choose. What am I going to do tonight? Am I going to go to the movies, go to the game, hang out with my friends? What am I going to do? I have to choose. And that choice happens because of scarcity. Now we have another potential definition of economics, and that potential definition of economics that a lot of people like, actually, is that economics is a social science that studies how we make choices when faced with scarcity. It's a social science. Social science means it's a science that deals with people, not rocks, not chemicals, not stars, not subatomic particles. It deals with people. But we're way better than psychology and sociology and those other alleged sciences. We are real social science. And again, what do? We study how individuals make choices when they're faced with this problem of scarcity. Scarcity and choice is not just about me having lunch. Scarcity and choice affects people, not just in their consumer behavior, but in their work behavior and other behaviors. Scarcity affects businesses. McDonald's cannot have everything on its menu, and it can't sell everything, provide everything, do everything. It has to choose. Governments have to choose. How much money are we going to spend? Where are we going to spend it on? We can't do everything for everybody, right? That's something that often comes up in political campaigns. We want to do this and this and this and this. And then somebody says, well, how are you going to pay for that? Well, okay. Same deal. And whole countries, when we look at our country as a whole, we have to choose what we're going to make. We have to choose what we're not going to make. We have to choose what we're going to import and export. And we have to make all these choices as a nation. So how do we choose? How do we choose the teacups versus small world? Good question. The trick to making a good choice is the comparison of costs and benefits, the weighing of costs and benefits. And we're going to talk a lot about this. How economists look at these things is not the way an accountant, for example, might look at these things. Costs and benefits, the comparison of the two. You probably have known someone, not yourself obviously, but you've known someone who went out partying, partied too hard, got up in the morning, was sick, didn't really have a good time in the end. That person was probably thinking about the benefits while they were doing it and not about the costs that happen later. Then you probably have another friend who never goes out and sits home all the time. They're thinking about the costs of going out without thinking about the benefits. The smartest people weigh the benefits and costs and make good choices. Let's talk for a second about benefits. Benefits are whatever we gain from something, and it doesn't have to mean money. It often doesn't mean money. When you eat, the benefit is not that you ended up with money. You ended up enjoying the food and the comradeship of your friends and all of that stuff. Economists are very interested, obviously, in the benefits. That's half of our equation. We often use this word preferences. What preferences mean to us is individual choice. Your preference might be sushi. That might turn my stomach. My preference might be Mexican. We make our own choices based on our own set of preferences. Now, when we do these benefits, we also need to do them in the terms of what we call marginal benefits. Marginal benefits is we should consider what we get from one more. When you're deciding whether to go to Disneyland or not for vacation this summer, if you've been to Disneyland every summer for the last 10 years and had a great time, you might not want to go to Disneyland again. It's not the past that makes you want to go there. It's do you want to go there one more time? When you've been eating a couple slices of pizza and you're out with your friends, you've already had a couple slices, you're nice and full. Just because you really enjoy pizza and have enjoyed it forever doesn't mean you want one more or that you get any benefit from having one more. We make our decisions on the margin. One more of things. Okay, so what about costs? This is where economists are way different than other people, namely accountants. We consider the cost of something to be the opportunity cost. That means the cost is what we gave up to do it. So it's not just about money. If you go to a concert and your mom didn't want you to go and you lied to her and you went anyhow, yeah, it cost you $200 to get the ticket to go to the concert, but now your mom's mad at you. And that's a cost of you going to the concert. That's an opportunity cost. Some costs of opportunity costs are what we call money costs or explicit costs. They pay in cash. Some costs are implicit. Some costs have no money attached to them. So it could be your time. Could be that you made your mom mad at you. Could be all sorts of things. Anything that you gave up that has no money attached to it, that's an implicit cost. So you are going to college. You gave up lots of stuff that costs money. You paid all this money. That means you can't do other things that you could have done with that money. And you could have a job, and that's an opportunity cost. And you can't go do things with your friends because you have to study and they're just out partying or whatever. There's all kinds of these implicit costs that occur, not just money costs. And opportunity cost is important. You give up a job on Wall Street making $500,000 a year to go start your own business, and you make $100,000 a year. To an economist, the cost of you starting your own business includes the $500,000 you just gave up. Now, you might have implicit benefits. You might have that happiness from the fact you gave that job up. And that implicit happiness might be more than the money that you gave up. But these things are part of our consideration. They are the opportunity cost. When economists say you have to consider the cost of something, remember that they mean you have to consider the opportunity cost. And it's the cost of what we give up, both in money and in things like time that have no money cost. And again, just like benefits, we look at the cost of doing one more of something. So it might be that we cleaned up a bunch of pollution in the river, and that cost us a certain amount of money, and now we want to clean up more in that river maybe, and we get a different valuation of benefits and costs because we're starting with a cleaner river than we were starting with before. So marginal cost, the cost of one more. We make decisions based on one more or one less. I'm a business person. I'm going to hire more workers because my old workers are good? No, I'm going to hire more workers because the cost of that worker compared to the benefits of that worker. One more of something. Not how many I've got, but one more. When economists are making that choice, when individuals are making that choice of costs and benefits, we talk about them as rational actors, whether they're people or businesses or governments or the bureaucrats in the government or the people who work in the business or own the business. If you do what you think is in your own best self-interest and you optimize, you try to make yourself as happy as possible, you try to earn as much profit as you can if you're a business, you're doing what we're calling optimizing. You're making rational choices. If a politician does something to get reelected and they think that's in their self-interest, that's a rational choice. And they're a rational actor. We may think they're doing something wrong, but economists, basic economic theory says you do what's in your own self-interest. And we'll talk about what that means for the society here in a minute. All right, so what do we know? Number one, choices create trade-offs. To get something, I have to give up something. I have to not do something. I have to choose. I'm always in the position of having to choose between doing things. And that means I'm trading off one thing for another. Nothing is ever free. Let me repeat that. Nothing is ever free. It might not have a price, but it is not free. We compare cost to benefits to make a choice. We make the choice that gives us the highest ratio of cost to benefit. We don't buy the cheapest car. We don't buy the most expensive car. We buy a car that gives us a balance between costs and benefits, and in doing so, we have made a trade-off. Now, crucial to all of this is this idea of incentives. Behavior can be influenced. Behavior can be changed. Anything that either encourages us to do something or discourages us from doing it is an incentive. Incentives can be positive. They can be negative. They can do good things for us. They can do bad things for us. But rational actors are affected by the incentives around them. The government has incentives to encourage us to buy a house. We get to deduct the interest off our income tax. We get government-sponsored loans. They want to help us buy a house. They're encouraging us. That's an incentive. Government cuts taxes on businesses to try to encourage them to invest more and to build more and to put more into the economy and to hire more workers. Your boss says to you, we meet our certain goal this month. Everybody will get a benefit. They'll get a extra pay in their paycheck. That's an incentive. If instead your employer says to you, hey, we don't have any money. No matter how hard you work and no matter what you do, you can't get any more money than you're getting now. Well, that's going to discourage you from working hard, discourage you from getting overly excited about your job. Incentives matter. Incentives create the environment and the world in which we work. Rational actors are affected by incentives. Next section.